Hi, my name is Tracy Deyell. I'm going to be 28 in a couple weeks here on August 4th. Right now I live in Boulder, Colorado, but I grew up in this little town just outside of Ontario, Canada. The town's called Richmond. I don't know if that matters, but uh, right now I'm living in Colorado and have been here for about 5 years. I'm getting my PhD in sociology. Probably have between 1 and 2 years left of the program, so I'm studying. I'm writing my dissertation right now, and also teaching some college courses as well as part of the program. I am single at the moment. Not sure why that matters, but I'm single. Being a PhD student is super busy, so it's just me. And then I don't have any kids. I have a dog, which I'll probably show you her later, but she's the closest thing to a kid that I have. Um, like I said, I grew up in a small town, about 3,000 people, but we were just outside of Ottawa, which is the capital of Canada. So it was a nice combination of rural meets city kind of feel to it. I would say pretty average sort of growing up. My mom was a nurse. My dad did a lot of odd jobs, in and out of work kind of thing. Worked in tech for a while, did some manual labor for quite a while, little this, little that sort of thing. Um, in school, who was I? Um, that's almost complicated. I was always, hmm. I guess from pretty early on, I was an athlete. I started competitive swimming when I was about 8 years old, and um, so got into that really seriously. So by the time I was about 10, I was one of the best 10-year-old swimmers in Canada, whatever that means, because you're 10. Um, so I swam a lot competitively growing up, swimming club. So in Canada, we don't really have high school sports the way they have it in the U.S. So I swam club all throughout. Um, what else? I had a small circle of friends. I definitely wasn't one of the popular cool kids, whatever. But I also wasn't a kid in the corner that no one talked to or anything like that. I don't know what else to say about that. Sorry, I'm looking at your questions here. So hobbies, I didn't have time for a whole lot because of swimming. By the time I was about 13, I was swimming about seven practices a week. So that's Monday through Saturday, and once a week I would go morning and then afternoon as well, so before and after school. Um, I was in band at school, starting in grade 7. Um, Ended up going to an arts high school, playing the oboe. I later quit that, but I think that's all for hobbies, etc. I'm not really sure what else to say on that. So maybe I'll think of something later. Bear with me, I'm sorry, I've never done this before. Alright, into the meat of the matter. I started having some problems when I was probably about 11 they started, maybe even a little earlier. I was 11 when I would scratch myself. It started actually in school, where I would sit and we were in a classroom, and I remember the first time I self-injured, I was 11, and my whole class was kept for like detention, so we weren't able to go out to recess, and it was really, really quiet in the room, and I could hear the second hand tick. And with every second, I would scratch myself once more. And not sure what exactly it did for me, but it did something um, that I learned very quickly that it worked for me, and that made things somehow feel better for just a little while even. From there, they just escalated. I was able to hide things really, really well, so my parents didn't know about anything. I had a couple of friends who knew, but they didn't tell anyone that I was self-injuring. Everything totally blew up when I was 13 in April, so that was April of '99. That was when I was seriously contemplating suicide. I had written notes and had friends who knew about what was going on, and they told some teachers. Um, and they brought me in during recess to talk to them. And I wouldn't say a word because I was so scared. It was the same feelings that I've been having for the past couple years, but at this point it had come to a head, and I didn't know what would happen if I told anyone that these were the kind of feelings that I was having, and this is what I was doing to try to ease those feelings. So I refused to talk to those teachers, and the teachers said, "All right, then we're going to call home, and they're going to take you to CHIO, which is the children's hospital in the area." And that scared me a lot because I didn't know what any of this meant. My dad picked me up from school. We went home first. He tried to talk to me, and I wouldn't say anything to him either. And so he decided that the teachers were right, and maybe we should go to CHIO. So we went there, and I ended up being admitted at that time. That was April 27th, 1999. And it ended up, what I was told would be a little break ended up being close to a year. So I ended up being discharged April 7th, 2000. No one would have expected that would have happened on the onset. But it did, because I was struggling so much. And I didn't know how to voice these issues, and then once you're in the hospital, everything's out of your control, and you're just doing anything to try to maintain control of what's happening in the whole situation. And so as a result, I ended up doing some things that I probably shouldn't have been doing while I was in the hospital. I continued to self-injure. I overdosed a few times and did all sorts of things like that left me there longer. After that, I was in hospital a couple other times. I think it was a total of about 4 other times between the ages of 14 and 17. And then things went pretty well. I went to college. I got a swimming scholarship and swam at Illinois State University. Go Redbirds. And things went, like I said, really well. When I got to Colorado, I started having some issues again. And they actually came to a head just relatively recently, a few months ago. I had some more problems. It's always been, though, with depression, self-injury, and then also suicidal ideation, and a few times attempts, which leads me into your next questions about the darkest times. The darkest times have definitely been when I've been extraordinarily suicidal, to the point where it goes past just feeling like I want to die, feeling like I have to. There's no other option available to me. Sitting down and actually writing those suicide notes, telling my loved ones it's not their fault. It's me because I'm too weak, because I'm just not strong enough. I can't go on anymore. I'm tired. Those have been probably the darkest times, for sure. I just said about having recently things coming to a head, and that was probably, for the people around me, and in retrospect, probably the scariest time. It's just a couple months ago where I got tired and I couldn't deal, so I wrote the suicide notes and had the plan and started to do the plan. And my roommates found the notes and ended up calling the police, and that's probably the only reason why I'm here to tell the story and to try to share the story, among many others, if you want. How did I cope with these? in those times for me, when things have gotten that bad, I've needed pretty much to be contained. And that's code for hospital. Being taken away from the scenario, giving that like timeout where I would not be able to kill myself, for lack of a better word. And even though that's very, very temporary in most cases, obviously, it's 13, that's a different scenario altogether. But for the most part, that's very short term. But even having that little bit of time to sit and think about where I'm at and how things got this bad has been helpful for me. I'll get later to what I would tell other people, because I wouldn't recommend it. It's not a great experience. It's not wonderful by any stretch of the imagination. But it is something that can work for some people when you're in that desperate situation. When and how did I face my issues? I thought I had faced my issues. I thought that things were better and then I was good. And after 17, I just hit that magic 18 number. I didn't feel like a child anymore. Things were more in my control, so I was alright. But obviously I wasn't. I think that part of how I faced my issues was seeing the effect on people like my family and my roommates, most recently. And before that, too, I was working on things. I was trying to face my issues and whatnot. By doing, for me, group therapy isn't a great thing, but that's me personally. I know people who it's worked wonders for, but I tend to do better with individual therapy with somebody who I've worked with for a long time. So I do have that, and that really helps you to look at yourself and look at your past and look at whatever it is that's causing this turmoil, this pain, this awfulness. Turning point that changed my life for the better. There are a lot of them because I've been dealing with this on and off for 15 years now. I have a lot of turning points. I think one was just being able to be like a normal, quote-unquote, normal person, and feel normal when I went off to college, where I felt like I could, I don't know, just be me. I don't know if this is making any sense, but just go out and be me and explore what it is to be me, which I really hadn't gotten much of a chance to do before that point. Other big turning points. I think most recently it's been the opportunity to share my story more, to share my experiences, to start working with the anti-stigma campaigns and things like that are going on at the moment. I think that's helped me a whole lot because it gives my experiences purpose, because they seem so negative and so damaging that if they can help even one other person, then I feel more okay with them. Closest people in my life. Definitely my family. We're pretty close, even though I live in Colorado and they all live in Ontario. We're still pretty close. We definitely have our bumps, but who doesn't? Other people are really close. I have 3 incredible roommates who I love dearly, um, and uh, and 2 of whom absolutely saved my life. So I'm very, very close to those 3 people, those 3 amazing women, and they're really, really important to me in my life. Other than that, I have a few people through sociology, other grad students that I'm really close to who are important to me, and also some people in the community through athletics and whatnot that I've done around here who have invited me in their homes and made me feel like part of their family, which has been really, really amazing to have when I'm so far away from home. What am I most proud of? Right now, I think I'm the most proud that I am stepping out and telling my story. I did a talk with a parent support group a few months ago now, telling them about my story, and it was the first time I'd really kind of let go and told it to strangers, to people I didn't know at all, and that was really powerful and really empowering all at the same time. And I'm really proud of that because I've been through some pretty rough times, and I think it's something that people shouldn't be ashamed of with mental health issues, but it's not something that I've gone out and been open about. So it was really cool for me to be able to do that and kind of like walk the talk. Also, around the same time, I happened to tell a class full of about 60 undergraduate students that I'd been through some mental health struggles. It was in context with what I was teaching at the time. It wasn't totally random. And I had one student email me back saying that I was an inspiration and that it was a really big deal for him to hear somebody come out and say that. And that also made me really, really proud of myself and the things that I can accomplish in terms of helping other people deal with this, because it's not easy at all. And it's not something we're necessarily given permission to come out and talk about a whole lot. All right. I would also say I'm happy that I've achieved that, being able to come out and talk about things more. Not being ashamed, not feeling like I somehow didn't deserve to feel the way I felt. I think was really, really important for me and a really big step for me to be able to do all those things. How has my life changed for the better? I have completely realized that I have some incredible friends in my life, and that my life has meaning, even though I don't know what exactly that is at the moment, but there's something there, and there are great things that I'm capable of accomplishing that I haven't been able to do yet. So I have realized those things. And that's definitely made my life change for the better. Also, since the most recent hospitalization, I took up boxing because I realized that I was angry all the time and had no idea how exactly am I supposed to release that, let it go. And I'm not a person who's comfortable with being angry. And so I thought, I've been thinking about this for a while, so why not check out boxing? So I started boxing, and that has definitely been amazing for me. It's a great release. It's a lot of fun. I've always been an athletic person and strong and all this stuff. So that's definitely, it's still new, so it's still in the process of changing things, but I think it is also changing my life for the better by giving me that outlet and reinforcing that it's okay to, I don't know, get angry and let it out on something, um, and that's okay, and there's nothing wrong with it. Sorry, I'm reading your questions again. Alright. What would I say to people watching? First, I would say just now have tattooed on my wrist. I would say, this is going to be backwards for you, I apologize. But no shame. I would say that you shouldn't feel guilty for the feelings you're having. And you shouldn't have to apologize for your feelings. And at the same time, you should feel that you're entitled to feel however it is that you're feeling. I think a lot of the times the people become really afraid of these scary feelings they're having and are insistent that I shouldn't be feeling this way. I don't deserve it. And really that's more the depression talking than it is you. So I would start with saying that you're entitled to how you're feeling. And don't let anyone say your life is great and there's no reason why you should be sad. Because clearly there is, because you're feeling sad right now, for whatever reason. And whatever reason it is, you're justified for that. And you're entitled to those emotions. And you shouldn't be ashamed for feeling that way. At the same time, I would also strongly encourage you to find somebody that you can confide in. Somebody you can talk to. Somebody, because after a while, it just builds up and it gets worse. It doesn't get better not letting it out. It's a really heavy load to carry on your own. And you shouldn't have to. And you don't have to. Specifically for self-injury, I would say that I know that in the moment, self-injury feels like it's the only thing that's going to make things better for you. It's the only thing that's going to take your mind off of everything that's happening or is going to make you feel something when you feel nothing, when you feel completely empty. But if you've done it before, you know that that's so momentary. It's just a fraction of a second. Maybe if you're lucky, it's a couple hours, or maybe until the next morning. But then you're back to square one. And in the end, it's not solving anything. I hope that's not too harsh. And finally, anything in my home that's meaningful for me and this topic. Well, I have a couple props. I hope that's okay. First thing that's really meaningful is this is the journal that I wrote in that I first got when I was in the hospital the first time. I was about 13. It was Christmas of '99, in fact. And I wrote in this off and on from that point until I think the last thing is in 2010, in the spring, late spring 2010. So that's really meaningful because I only ever write when I'm in a depressed state. I'm not a very happy writer. And so it's really the entire journey, or a good part of the journey, is in this book. So this is, I've debated keeping this or not, but I can't imagine throwing it out because it's so important to me as a document of this entire journey. Another thing that's been important is, sorry, one second. I have multiple random stuff going on. This picture has always helped me when things start getting bad. You'll have it emailed to you. I don't think you can even see it right now, and you shouldn't see that face because she hasn't consented to anything. But you'll see this, whatever. This has helped me a lot. It's one of the only pictures I have from being in the hospital, and I just look miserable and sad, and it's many times it's helped me to look at it to think, what do you need to do to not get to this point again? Hasn't been foolproof, but it's helped a lot at many junctures throughout. Another thing that's been very, very meaningful, I don't know if I can get her to cooperate, and I know I'm way over time, I apologize, is my dog, who is under my bed right now, but we'll see if she'll come out. One second. Come here. Come here. Oh, here you are. Good girl. All right. My dog. Come here. Come here. All the way. Come in. Up. One second. I'm just going to pick her up. All right. Here. So this is Q. And she's awesome and has helped me so much. May it be just as a little non-judgmental ear sitting there for me. Someone I know who completely depends on me and wouldn't understand if I were to suddenly disappear. And just a really good friend. I know it's corny, cheesy, whatever, but she's pretty awesome and pretty great, and has helped me through a huge amount in just the 4 years that I've had her. And she's adorable. Check her out. So I think that's everything that you've asked of me. I'm really sorry that this is late, or sorry, that it's long. I'm gonna let the dog down, and it's what you wanted to hear. All right. Thanks. Bye.